Today we're going to make this easy paper groundhog puppet craft.
For today's craft, you are going to need a popsicle stick, some green paper, some brown paper, a little bit of black, a little bit of white, a black marker crayon or pencil crayon, a pencil, some scissors, and some glue. So grab your supplies and let's get started. The first thing I want to do is make some grass for my groundhog. So I'm going to make the ground. I'm going to use the green to do that. Now I have this piece of paper that I think is pretty wide. So you have to decide how wide you want the ground to be. Now let me just explain what I mean. This here for our craft is going to be the ground. You can see this is how wide I made it, and this is how big this piece of paper is. If I use the whole piece of paper, that is a lot of ground. So in order to decide, usually what I will do is I'd like to use my hands to help me out. If I use 1, 2, 3, 4 of my fingers, that's about how wide I like it to be. So I'm gonna roughly use 4 of my fingers. My hand is quite large, so you might use your entire hand, and just roughly figure that out and then fold. So there we go. I'm going to fold so that I have a fold line. Whoops, and you can see my fold line is not very straight, so let me just try that again. I'm going to fold and try to make that a little bit more streamlined and straight. Then I'm going to use that fold line and I'm going to cut. Now if you have a hard time, you can always use a ruler to do this. And once I have that cut, I am going to just wrap it around to make sure it creates a hole. Now your hole could be much larger than this. It's not a problem. The bigger your hole is, the easier it is going to be for your groundhog to go inside. If you find that your paper is like this tiny little hole like this, it is going to be a problem. You're going to have to make a tiny groundhog. So see how my groundhog fits in the hole? You just want to make sure that you make the hole big enough so the groundhog's going to go inside. So I'm going to try to make mine as large as I can. I'm going to put some glue on one end, and I'm going to wrap it around to make my cylinder. Put my fingers on the inside, push down so that that sticks, and there we go. I can actually fit my whole hand in there, which is quite helpful. So if you can fit your whole hand in there, you know it's a pretty good size. Now that I have this done, I'm going to choose one of my ends. It doesn't really matter which end. And I'm going to just cut little slits on my green piece of paper here. Now my slits are maybe about 2 fingers in length this way. So not this way, but here 2 fingers wide. That's about how much I have cut them. And I try to make it about the same. Now grass doesn't all have to be the same size either, so don't worry. You're just gonna just snip, snip, snip as best you can. If some are a little bit wider and some are a little bit narrower, that is okay. So just keep snipping around until you reach where you first snipped. And then I just like to gently fold over a little bit with my hand. So I'm just gently folding the pieces over. And then you can see that's what I get. And if you want to roll them over even more, you are more than welcome to do that. Once you have your grass all ready to go, we're just going to set that aside and we're going to work on our groundhog. I'm going to use my brown piece of paper for my groundhog, and I'm going to start by making the head of my groundhog. So to do that, I want to cut this piece of paper in half, and I'm going to use part for my head and part for my body. Now, this is quite a bit for my head. You want more for your body, but I know I have enough, so I'm going to be okay. If you're not sure, you can watch the video right through, then come back and decide how much paper you need. Now remember, your groundhog's going to fit inside here, so you don't want a humongous groundhog. I'm going to take my piece of paper and make my head first. So I'm going to fold it over. I'm going to use my fold line, and I'm going to draw half a heart. So to do that, I'm going to start at the fold line. I'm going to come up, around, and back down. So that is going to be a half a heart. That's going to be for my head. Then I'm going to cut that out. And once I have that as my head, turn it upside down, so that's going to be my head. I'm going to make some ears. So to do that, I am going to keep that same piece of paper, line this up just so I know about what size, go to that fold line and create my ears just by curving around and back. Oh, I think I might am a little bit bigger than that, around and back, so that's all I do. Once I've done that, I'm going to cut those ears out. Now, because I'm on that fold line, when I open it up, it's going to look like one ear, but I'm going to just snip like that, and there we go. We have 2 ears. Then I'm going to take my black piece of paper. I'm going to fold that in half. I'm going to put one of my ears on there, and I am going to trace around, and then I'm going to just trace a little bit inside to make it a little bit smaller. I don't know if you can see that, but all I did was trace the ear, then I traced a smaller shape inside because I want this to go inside my ear. So it's just a little bit smaller. It's going to go inside. Then I am going to, while I'm here, go to a fold line on that black, and I'm going to draw another half a heart. It's going to be the nose, so it's going to be quite small. So I'm going to go up, curve around and down. So up, curve around and down. Hopefully you can see that. Up, curve around and down, and I'm going to cut that out. It's going to be a half a heart, and it'll be my nose. I'm going to trim that. Woo! There's my little nose. And then I like to go to the little tip here where it's pointy and just curve around to make it a little bit curved. You don't have to. I'm also going to make some eyes while I'm here, so I'm going to grab my white piece of paper. I'm going to fold that over. I'm going to look at my head to see what size I want my eye. I want them quite small, so I'm going to draw a small oval for my eye, and I'm going to cut that out. Now, because I have because I have folded my piece of paper, I only have to cut once, and I'm going to end up with 2 eyes. And once I have those 2 eyes, I'm going to start to glue everything together. And then I'm going to take my black marker, and I'm going to draw little pupils on the inside of my eyes. So here I'm going to start to glue. Okay, once I have the pupils drawn on the inside of my eyes, then I'm going to go just right under my nose with my black marker. You could use a crayon or a pencil crayon. Come down and curl up to one side, come down and just curl to the other. Put a little curved line on each of those and a couple little dots. And I have my little head all ready to go. Now that I have my head, I'm ready for the body. To make the body, I'm going to take my other brown piece of paper. I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to work on this fold line. With my pencil, I'm going to draw half a heart. Now this is the head, so I want to make sure that the body is going to match whatever size I would like that to be. I'm going to start here. I'm going to come up, curve around, around, around. I'm going to make the body fairly long, down, 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 down to here. And there we go. Once I have that, I'm going to cut that out. And I'm going to use this brown piece of paper here. I'm just going to cut a little rectangle. So I'm using one little piece. I'm going to fold it once. I'm going to fold it twice. And I am going to use my pencil, draw a line that goes across, comes around and curves, 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 and comes back down. So it's a straight line, curves, and comes right back down. I'm going to cut that out. And there we have it. Now I'm going to grab some glue and I'm going to start to put everything together. I'm going to take my heart and turn it upside down. And at the tip of the heart is where I am going to glue my head. And then I'm going to take one here and put it on one side. The other comes out the other side. My little groundhog's very happy, waving away. And then at the bottom, I'm actually going to put a little bit of glue and have My feet coming out on either end. Once all that is done, I am ready for my popsicle stick. Now, if you don't have a popsicle stick, that's just fine. You could just use your hands to hold your groundhog, or you can put some glue right on your popsicle stick and glue that to the back of your groundhog. I would hold it just to make sure it's secure. Now you have your groundhog puppet. And watch what happens. Now, don't worry that the arms are a little bit bigger because he nicely folds right inside. You can see your groundhog nicely folds right inside the ground. And as he pops up, does he see his shadow? He sees it. He sees it here and he can go right back in. He's scared. Or maybe your groundhog does not see his shadow. If you like this craft, give it a thumbs up. Give it a little thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Thanks for joining me on Craft Club for Kids. Remember, be creative and have fun.